In the previous video we implement the head of the snake, that the head of the snake will be placed randomly inside our game, and also the head direction is random. And in this video we implement the body of the snake. So for that we go into the script and we have here this code snippet to create the head of the snake. I want to use also this snippet to create the middle part of the snake. So I copy this part here and insert it into this part here. So we see that I instantiate a prefab in the panel. That's okay. The size is also okay, and the sprite is not the head, it is our picture. In the resource folders it's the middle part. So I use here the middle part. And now the range. This range was for the random position of the head. I don't need these positions. It is so that the middle part is based on the position of the head and also on the direction of the head. So I need here a variable. I call this position of head, and this position is my tuple here. So I use this position for my dictionary to get the vector, and this is also wrong because I create here a new random tuple. So I use here also the position of my head. Okay. Now I can use the position of my head for my middle part. When we look into this picture, we see that the middle part is behind the head. So if the head looks to the top, the middle part has to be on the y-axis, has to be down on the y-axis. If the head is look, for example, to the right side, so the middle parts are on the left side of the head. So I need a method which returns me, based on this position here, a new position recalculated for the middle parts. So I create here a private method which returns me a new tuple, and I call this method get position, get next position of middle. And as an argument, this method takes also a tuple, the position. So for example, I call this method, and as an argument I get the current position of the head. So now I use a switch statement to say if the current position of the snake is, for example, on the top, so the elements have to be on the y-axis, and the y-axis has to decrease the value. So I need here two values. I say value underline x is 0 and variable value underline y is also 0. So when the current position, when the current head direction is the top, I say here that the value y has to be -1. When the direction is left, so the elements, the middle parts, has to be on the right side, so the value x has to be increased by 1. When the snake look to the bottom, the y-axis, or the parts, the middle parts, has to be on a higher position, so the value y has to increase. Oh, sorry. And when the position of the head is right, then the value x has to decrease, because the elements has to be on the left side of the head. So now I prepared my values here. I can say return a new tuple, and the items are based on this position here. So I say position dot item 1, that's the x value, plus the value x, plus this prepared value here. And also I use position item 2 plus the value y. And now I get the next position of my middle parts based on the argument and of the current direction of the head. So I say here variable position first middle part is get next position of middle, and as an argument it takes the current position of the head. And with this middle position I can get the vector of my what is placed in my dictionary, and with this vector I get the position of my middle part. Then I insert the middle part with the current position here into my dictionary of my snake object, and also I create a second middle part, so I call this the position second middle part, and this middle part sets this position here of the new middle part, and I also insert it into the dictionary. So I save the script and I start the game. Now we see what happens. So if I start the game, I have here one middle part and I get an exception. An item with the same key has already been added. So if I look in my script, I see here the line with the failure. So the middle part always exists in my dictionary, and the middle part is get next position of middle, and this argument here is the position of the head of the snake. But we use the recalculation in this part. So the second part has to be recalculated with the position of the first part. So I save the script, insert here the position of the first middle part, then I go to Unity and I start the game. Now we see we have two middle parts, and this failure what we see is that the game object can be instantiated outside of the game. So that this not happened, I instantiate the head of the snake only in this area here. So the snake are always inside this game. So I go to the function where I instantiate the head, and we have here our positions. We start with range 1 because 0 is the border and 9 is also the border. So the position 1 and the position 2 are possible for the middle parts. So we start from 3, and the number 9 is the border. The number 8 and the 7 can also be the middle parts. So exclusive 7. So we save this game. I go into Unity and I start the game. Okay, that's look fine. I start the game, yes, and we see we have a random position of the head and a random position of the snake when the game is starting. Fine. In the next videos we implement the movement for the snake.